Hi everybody, it's Kaylin here at Full Purpose and Heart, and today I want to give you guys an update of how our homeschool life is going here on our side of the mountain. So we have finished week 7. I believe my last update was week 5, so I've got 2 weeks worth of update that I want to chat with you about. Don't worry, I'll try not to make this video very long. I have my first graders work on the left side here of my hand, and then over here I've got some stuff for my preschooler and what we did in her class too. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start with my first grader because I think his information will go relatively quickly. As I don't have a ton to say, I say that in preface and I'll probably end up chatting for several minutes. But here we go. First of all, I'm going to update you a little bit about how our English is going. In my last update, I mentioned that we dropped our Horizons curriculum because I was really uncomfortable about it and feeling a lot of stress and whatever. It just wasn't working out. And I dropped it for like 2 days. And then what I ended up doing is I integrated those lessons into our group lesson time. If you haven't seen, I did do a video on how I structure our school day, so you can check out that video. I'll put it in the eye in the sky here. So you can check out that video if you want to know how my school day goes. But as far as the English lesson, I just pull out a couple of pages and then I teach it to him and make it kind of a lesson activity as opposed to having him write those answers and fill in all of those blanks in the lesson worksheet as a part of his binder work. So that's been actually going really well because the words that have been blend review, meaning that we did it during the kindergarten curriculum, we've been able to breeze through those really quickly, and I feel comfortable with where my son is sitting with those. And then when we get a new sound, we had a couple new sounds these last several days with silent letters, like when 2 letters are together, this particular letter is silent. And I was able to introduce those to him one day at a time. And then when we had 3 of those silent letter sounds, then we just played a couple of games with them for several days. So it really was a lot more smooth. Now, there were 3 of those silent letter sounds, and the lesson material had it all clumped into one lesson. So I just broke it apart and did it at my own pace, and I felt really comfortable with that. So that worked out really good. Our history is going really well. The last section or the last unit that we just finished was My Community. I haven't been super excited about this unit, mostly because we did so much of it during his kindergarten year, so it felt very repetitive for me. It was probably decent for him because he forgot like what the word community actually meant. Anyway, so this is the chapter beginning page. This is from the BJU Press curriculum, and I did a curriculum look through if you wanted to look into this. But I really am enjoying, I still really like this curriculum. And towards the end, we talked about the government and the mayor and how the government tries to make the laws and that sort of thing. I've made this cute little folder for him, and this week we did Benjamin Franklin. So we did like a little biography of Benjamin and kind of the things as he contributed to his community. And the things that we have in our community are because of him, because Benjamin did things like the library, the post office, the first hospital, yada, yada, yada. So, and then we're going to wrap it up by talking about things from then and now, and how the things that Benjamin Franklin invented are different from the things that we have now, but yet they're the same concept. So anyway, history is growing really well. I enjoy it, and I'm satisfied with that curriculum choice that I made because it's laid out really perfectly for me. Let me chat really quickly about our English, spelling. Again, I still really enjoy this curriculum, but I will say I think that these words are really easy. They're all still single syllable words. Let's see, this is the week that we're on, and we have as with his wet leg hen. So I'm going to still plow through it, but, okay, so what I'm about to say is like the biggest no-no of all homeschooling life. But when I was chatting with my sister, and her son is the same age as mine, he's going to a charter school, and she was explaining some of the spelling words that her son had versus what I have for my son. And I was like, oh my goodness, like we are way behind. So I was totally comparing, which you're not supposed to do. But anyway, so I suddenly felt like I needed to kind of accelerate where we are with our spelling words. Her son also had 30 spelling words a week, which is far excessive in my opinion, but I have like 6 spelling words. So although I really like this curriculum, this was actually made by a first grade teacher. So so I think it's still okay, and I still really like it. So we're going to keep plowing through the September book. But then when we start the October book, I may select some words that are a little more advanced. I'm sure that as we go through the curriculum, she probably has done that as the teacher, but I haven't looked into those packets yet. So we'll see kind of how spelling goes. We could potentially be upgrading our spelling words here in the next little while, but we will see. Math, I'll just show this really quickly. So we are doing double-digit addition now with our curriculum, and I think up until now we've just been doing a lot of whiteboards, and we've been using like counting bears as manipulatives. But I've kind of been thinking in my head how I've been wanting to get the blocks. I just didn't, financially I couldn't afford it, and I wanted to get them used. Anyway, it was just kind of turning into this big production that I wasn't really interested in doing. So in a mash rush to be like, I just want to use these for today's lesson, I went ahead and made them on cardstock and then laminated them. So I just cut them, drew some lines, and did it on cardstock. And you know what? It's working perfectly for me. Who knew, right? Gosh, why didn't I think of this before? So we've got, I made about 20 of the single blocks. I have 400s, and then I made 10 strips. So this is going to be really helpful. I'm not so sure what type of a learner my son is yet as a first grader. I'm not sure when those kind of attributes start manifesting themselves earlier or more prominently, whether he's kinesthetic or yeah, anyway, all of those words that I can't think of right now. Anyway, so I'm just kind of trying to cover all of the gamut and get a little bit of hands-on, a little bit of reading, a little bit of pictures, a little bit of writing, coloring, all that kind of stuff, so that we can hopefully hit all of our bases until I learn what type of learner he is. So anyway, so I made these for his math. I'll quickly talk about our science. We are doing the good and the beautiful. I still feel the same now as I did in my last updates. I'm very disenchanted by it. I have been using her teacher's manual only for a springboard to know what subject to teach next, as in what order to go in, but I have not been using anything else from her lesson manual. We did do one of the science projects that she suggested when we were learning about Mars craters. So it's not for nothing. I think that it has its perks, but nothing that I can't accumulate from outside sources. So I don't know, because if I went to go search for them on the internet, then that would be time that I would be spending trying to find the perfect fit for this particular subject I'm trying to teach, whereas I just made the investment and she presented that information to me. So it's kind of sixes in that respect, but a lot of her lesson material I have been very disenchanted with. I went out, and as I was searching the craft store Michael's, we had this kind of popped out at me, and they're all of the planets. They're really big and colorful, so I purchased these. They were $1. I laminated them, and now we're using these instead of the flash squares that came with the Good and the Beautiful's curriculum. I like them better because they're bigger and they are cooler, more colorful. In the actual curriculum, I should have brought them here to show you, and I didn't, but they actually look more like kind of like a photograph of sorts, whereas these are clearly a clip art. So, but I really like them, and so anyway, we're going to go with these. And at the beginning of every school science day, we put these in order and we talk about them, and then we pick out the planet that we're talking about. As far as actually teaching the planets, again, I'm not necessarily using the teacher's manual for the facts. I'm actually just going to the library and picking out library books for that planet, because I feel like there are more pictures, because it's more of like a 20 to 30 page book instead of like the 3 to 5 half pages that are provided in that mini book that come with the curriculum. The facts are almost all the same. I think The Good and the Beautiful does have a few more facts that she pulls out and then expects you to put into your science journal. So those things I do have to go and look up in her curriculum. But it's things like the interesting facts. She might have something more specific than what I pick out. On one of the planets that we did, I couldn't figure out how many moons that there were based on the library books that I got, but she had it really easy to find. But anyway, so that's kind of the route that I've been going, and it's been working really great. My son enjoys it, and I think we are learning the basic understanding of the planets and the universe and space and how we orbit the sun, and one time around the sun is a year, and each planet moves at a different speed. So all of those like basic, very elementary facts are coming across, and he's understanding those. We are, again, in first grade, so I'm not trying to like pound a bunch of astronomy into him. But as far as curriculum goes, like I said, my opinion is the same today as it was before, and we're just kind of hobbling along in that respect. The last thing that I wanted to touch on is my big like homeschool fail. One of the main reasons why lots of people choose to homeschool, myself included, is because we get to teach our faith into our children, and I've been failing that epically. I almost, on many school days, we don't do it at all as a part of our school day. Now, let me kind of interject here. We do have scripture study and scripture time and family worship outside of our school day, but I really wanted to have a more meaningful scripture study and really teach my children how to, study the scriptures and how to explore these gospel concepts and teach them the stories of the scriptures so that they know who are these prophets and how did their stories develop. And I haven't been doing that at all. My plan originally was to be teaching out of the Friend magazine, which is a magazine that's distributed by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it has a lot of great character quality stories and games and lessons that come from the prophet and that sort of thing. But guys, I just haven't been doing it. Epic fail. So I've got to put that on my goal list. I have to figure it out. Last year we did Word of Life Ministries Scripture Day. I know there's lots of different devotion books out there. I don't know. I need to figure something else out because I need to do something for him. He is in first grade, and I really want to make that a part of our school day, and I haven't been doing it. Another thing that might be changing, and you can catch this in the next video because I haven't implemented anything yet, but we need to kind of adjust our timetable. Since the preschool kids started coming, we were using 1 hour before the preschool kids come for our lesson time. And I think that's been going fine, but then I've been expecting him to do his schoolwork while the preschool kids are here. It worked okay the first day or two, but it really, these last probably 5 or 6 days have been a real struggle. And especially the last 2 days, I've had to pick up his schoolwork after the preschool kids leave and focus on him. So we're not finishing our school day until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on those preschool days. And it's really not what I wanted to do, but it may just be a nature of the beast because I have decided or I've chosen to do preschool. So therefore the consequence is I have to be doing school later in the day. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I've got to really think and kind of ponder on that and make some plans for that. So let me just quickly look. We're still reading Huckleberry Finn. We've kind of slowed down our reading because of me. We have our lunch and literature, and I just haven't been reading during lunchtime because either the baby was fussy or whatever, different things. But so that's kind of been going a little bit slower, but no worries. And I've got a couple more read alouds coming. I ordered some more, so I'm very excited about that. Okay. So I think that I've covered all of my first grade. If you've got questions of anything that I just talked about for my first graders' work, please make a comment below, and I will answer them either in the next video or I'll make an answer here in the comment section so you can follow along in our journey and then ask some questions if you need to. Okay? Let me briefly jump into our preschoolers' work. There's a couple of things that I want to show you that I just super duper have been excited about and love. So I did this last year with my preschooler, and okay, sorry about that. interruption. So a couple of things last year I did with my preschool students, and now this year that my child is a preschooler, we're doing it with her, and I really love it. We do an interactive notebook for each of the letters of the week. So the first week of school, or I guess the second week, we did the letter T, and the third week we did the letter H, and I don't know. I just love them. I love them for a couple of reasons. One, it teaches coloring, so that fine motor skill and the importance. I always try to teach my preschool students, number one, how to hold the writing utensil. Number two, to color all of the white space and do their work neatly. And then number three, we learn cutting skills. And I know that you can buy like books or downloads or whatever where the student just cuts, you know, from the apple to the tree or from the child to the school bus or whatever, and they have to practice cutting those lines, and that's all well and fine. But for me, I like to have my students cut something more purposeful and then paste it into the book so that I can see the progress of their cutting skills. And in the beginning, it's usually pretty rough. I'm actually really impressed with my students this year. Okay. So the cutting skills, I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought. So it also teaches the cutting skills, and it allows me to track their cutting progress. So that's really great, and I really love it. I actually made these whatever, mini books, I guess you could say, for this, interactive notebook, and it's super cute, and I really love it. So we've done 2 letters, and we'll continue going through that notebook. This last week we did the character quality of diligence and work, I guess you could say, and the importance of helping out and getting the job done all the way to the end. And to demonstrate or to illustrate that story, I used the story of the little red hen. So the last video I showed you that we did the boy who cried wolf. So I just wanted to show you. Here's my, let me see if I can show you this. So this is my whiteboard that I made. I know I was going to try and talk behind it. That's not going to work. This is the whiteboard that I made, and then these are my felt pieces that I made using an iron-on from Avery, is the company that makes them, and then it just sticks right on this. This is a piece of flannel. No, this is, yeah, I think that this is flannel, and I just kind of duct taped it to the back of one of these boards. So anyway, it's a really fantastic resource, and I've been using it a lot, and my students love it. So we did the little red hen this week, and a couple of things that we made with it. Where did I put them? Oh, right here. So we did this little cute thing where we talked about, would you help the little red hen? And we made this like little chart. And then we made, I'm going to have to run again. Okay, this is turning into such a choppy video between kids and everything. I'm going to need to quickly finish. So after we finished this poster, then we did this little craft where the kids made the little red hen with their hand. I traced their hand on red paper. We painted these craft sticks, and then there's a face and a beak and a little, what do you call that? Anyway, and then down here is our creative writing. I wrote it for them because they are only preschoolers, but my first grader, he wrote it on his own. So it says, yes, I would help the little red hen because, or no, I would not help the little red hen because. So that was really cute. And then the last thing that we finished up with is we made this sequence story craft. That is, I got it off of Teachers Pay Teachers from Robin Sellers, and it was very inexpensive. It was cheaper for me, or easier for me to purchase it than to make it myself, so I bought it from her, and it turned out really cute, and the kids had to put in order how the little red hen made the bread. So it worked out really, really good. It was a fun, and by the end of the week, I only taught it for 3 days, and my students knew that story of the little red hen and the importance of doing work. So that was really the whole purpose. We learned the letter H for hen and for help, and I had a lot of other games and stuff that we did for practicing the letter H and then reviewing the letter T, which is what we did the week before. So anyway, that's kind of what we're doing in preschool. That's what we did in first grade. I think I've covered everything. This video turned out a little longer and a little more choppy than what I wanted it to be, but make sure that you stay tuned and follow along in our preschool life if you're interested. And if you have not yet subscribed, then I would invite you to do so that you can follow our journey and all of the other homeschooling tips and tricks that I post here up on YouTube. We'll talk to you in another video.